Well, hello and welcome into Hats on a Mission. I am your host, Jeremy. Welcome in. And today I am going to be using that Sentro machine that we all been talking about, and it's exciting. So be sure, before we go any further, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let's get right into it. So what we're going to be doing today is a double-sided reversible beanie. And so that's what we're doing today, and it's also going to be the the cornerstone hat design here going forward on the channel as well. Okay, so here is the Centro, and as you can see, there is a yarn guide here, which is going to be used really well. You know, it keeps the tension on you. That way, you don't drop stitches or anything. Here's your your main carousel and your yarn feeder into the needles behind it. This white needle is going to be really important for all your projects here, because this is where your projects start and end a lot of times. Also, since we are doing a beanie, what you want to do is set your machine to tube and not panel. There's a T here for tubes, which is around beanies, sleeves, etc., and socks, scarves. But anything that you want to do flat, you could also do panels with the Sentro machine too. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a beanie. So let's get my machine set down. And remember, these suction cups are so important, because you want to not have the machine sliding around or being too unstable. So you want to make sure and not have it going everywhere. You want to reset your counter here to 0. That way it can go ahead and start counting your rows. But let's see, in order to start the process here, what we're going to do is rotate our machine until this white needle comes up. This is the most important needle right here. So that's the good starting point right there. Now let's grab our yarn. What you want to do to get started is to take about a foot of yarn and drop it into the middle of the machine, while leaving your working yarn out here so you can attach it to your tension guide as well as your yarn guide here. So what you want to do is take this, put it behind this first needle, and drop your non-working yarn down in the middle of the machine. Now you want to hold this with this up high during these first 3 or 4 cranks. Are going to be very important, because this is what you call casting on. Now the cast on method is just so that you can close up this end, that way you can do a full size beanie. So that's what we're doing. It's called casting on. So here goes. What you want to do is, as you slowly crank the machine, and I do mean slowly, take the yarn and go behind the second needle here, and then you want to go in front of that needle. Okay, so then you want to do the back and front pattern, repeating all the way around. Okay, this is how you cast on. And you see, I'm just using a sweeping motion back and forth here as the needles come up and meet you. Then you could just be back and forth, just real easy like this. Back and forth, one behind, one in front. And this is how you want to do this all the way around. Another good pro tip while I'm sitting here thinking about it and casting on is, you want to make sure you have a loose skein of yarn that is either floating around down in a bowl like I use, or you want to rewrap the entire skein on a spool. Re-spool your yarn into something tight. Okay, so now you're noticing that this white one is coming back up, right? This is a good stopping point. Okay, you should be behind this needle, this last pink needle. You should be behind it whenever you come around. That way you can feed it straight into the yarn guide. Now as this comes across, you can just put it right down into the yarn guide, and then you want to set your tension. Now there are 3 levels of tension here in the tension guide. The first one here is tight, the second one is loose, and then the third one is even looser. It is recommended that you put it on the medium tension here, but you can adjust the tension according to how how tight you want your tight or loose you want your stitches to be. So let's go ahead and keep cranking it around about 3 or 4 times. And as you can see, you no longer have to hold the yarn, but you do have to keep an eye on this tension. If it's too much, it's going to bind the machine up. If it's not enough, then your stitches will be loose. So let's go ahead and crank out 3 or 4 rows, and I'll talk to you then. Again, keep an eye on your tension here, because once it becomes too tight, the machine's not going to like that. So you have to keep it, you have to keep your skein loose down here, you know, and very, very flexible and able to, you know, move. But yeah, we're just cranking it down, and yeah. So, okay, so you see this yarn guide, it's too tight. This is too much tension. So this is what I'm talking about. Whenever you run in here, it's going to bind this up right here and be really hard for you to turn that crank. So be sure that you got plenty of yarn. You know, just pull out as much as you can right here in a little pile next to you if you have to. Or just like I said, re-spool your whole skein, and then just have like the spool over here off to the side. That way it can hang and be fed naturally in from the bottom right here on this tension guide. And keep cranking it. And you go a little faster with the crank once you notice that you got, you know, a loose skein up underneath you. Okay, so now it's binding up a little bit. Whenever it binds up a little bit, just check your tension. If your tension's loose, then slowly crank the wheel. Now this wheel does go backward. In the event that it does get stuck, you can just ease it back a little bit like that, and then just continue on your project. So right now I am sitting at 6 rows, and we need to make it to 50, because that's when we're going to switch colors. A double-sided reversible hat takes 100 rows. So let's go ahead and get this 50 down. And remember, your row counter is already counting, so you don't have to count it. You know, just kick back and listen to some music and just crank out a hat. So that's what we're gonna do. Are on our 50th row, and I want to go ahead and slow it down. That way I can see when the white peg comes up, because that's the stopping point and we're going to need to change colors. So let's find him as he comes around. There we go. There's your white peg, and you want to stop right here. Now what we want to do is look at the project here. It's coming along very nicely. It's halfway done. So there's the tan. As you can see, it really creates a tight, neat little, you know, pattern on here. And man, this is just so nice and tight. You know, even stitches all the way around. You don't have to worry about, you know, as long as you keep this thing turning smoothly, you know. And this is a very smooth machine, by the way. I love it. And so yeah, you can see that your stitches are tight, they're good and everything, and also the project goes down into the machine. Eventually what I'm gonna have to do is roll the project up on itself, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So let's switch colors and keep this hat going. And I'm using number 4 yarn, and the reason why this is so important is it's got the, you know, just the thickness right here. It doesn't have, you know, You don't have to double layer it or triple layer to use the, you know, 3 times the amount of yarn if you use a thick enough yarn. Now, the worsted yarn is the maximum thickness that is recommended to use with this Sentro. So don't use anything thicker than worsted weight. I find that this number 4 yarn works really well. If you use anything smaller than that, you're going to have to double up or triple up your yarn that you're using, and naturally it's going to use more yarn and it's going to cost you more to do a hat. So that's my recommendation, is that you use number 4 yarn for this project. So now you want to set it back down into the tensioner. And I'm going to have it back on medium because both layers have to be even whenever you're doing the reversible hat. And the medium tension seems to work very well with this machine and this weight of yarn. Okay, so we are at 99 rows. We got one more to go, and I want to slow it down that way whenever the white peg comes back around, you can stop it, because that is the end right there. Now that we have all of our 100 rows here on this machine, now it's time to take it off. So what you want to do is cast off. Now the cast off process is as follows. You take it out of your yarn guide, you take it out of the machine itself, you cut about a foot of yarn. In order to start the casting off process, what you want to do is you hold your yarn right here tightly. Okay, not tightly, but you know, just don't let it fall. And then what you do is you crank the machine around one entire loop to let these stitches fall off. Then when the white needle comes up, stop. Okay, so now that we have cranked the machine around all the way around one time, your white needle is still up here, and what you want to do is you want to take what's called a tapestry needle or a darning needle. Now this is a darning needle. It's the first time I'm going to use one because it came with the machine, but it also came with different needles too. The one I'm used to using is called a tapestry needle. Okay, so you can use either one, you know, to cast off the project. This needle is lighter and it's easier for me to work on the hand loom, but I'm going to see what this darning needle is all about because I really want to just use it and see. It comes with another smaller tapestry needle as well as a crochet hook, so it allows you to do all kinds of things with this Sentro. And before the needle lifts it up here, see, before that happens, you need to bring it back a little bit and then take it off. And don't forget to run the needle through while you have it right here at that location, because it'll slip out and you'll lose it. Now if you notice, what I'm doing here is those are going to be all connected because I'm going to pull this to make the hat tight. So you want to make sure and keep some tension here, but not, you know, just yanking on it like that. But let me go ahead and finish this up and we'll be right back. Okay, so the hat is off of the machine and it's right here, so this is what it looks like. What we want to do is turn it inside out. That way we can tie up those two colors that we put together. Because what we're doing is we're going to close out this stitch right here. So you want to make sure and pull it not too tight, but just tie it off here and then cut off the excess. You don't want to cut it too close to the knot because you want that stitch to be held and tight. Okay, so once you've done that, then you can turn the hat back right side out, which is going to look like this. Okay, it's going to look just like this. And then what you want to do is you take one end and roll it into the other. What I'm going to do is take this this gray and bring it up over here. So once you have the end pulled through over to this side, what you want to do is pull the yarn tight. Now you see how it bunched it all together, but I still got some looseness here. The reason why I did this is so I can catch these loose loops right here, pass the yarn through them one more time, and then leave it like that. Because what you're going to do is then take this top part, let this bottom part still come through, and fold it about where the colors change. That way you got two even panels that are coming together at one point right here. So then what you want to do is leave this tight, leave it alone, let it come through the middle here. Then what you want to do, you remember that original foot of yarn that you left here? Well, now this comes in handy. So what you want to do is hold both of these yarns together right here. Let me see if I can get it on camera. Yeah, hold it like that, and then just pull on the one that has not been done yet. That way they both match, and you can unroll your project here. You can unroll it at the top. That way you can match up these two yarns, because you're going to want to tie these two together when these 2 points meet. So you take your yarn and you tighten it down with this top part, pull the one on the inside, and now the top of your hat, what I'm going to do is go ahead and reach on the inside and make sure that it's all even all the way around. You want this part to definitely be closed up right here at the top. So what I'm doing is I'm reaching inside the hat down. Like I told you, it's reversible, so it's going to look like this now. You got one color on the outside, one color on the inside. But to finish off your project here is you want to take your yarn and tie it several times to make sure that this top, is good and tightened down. So I'm going to tie it 4 or 5 times, and and then cut the yarn off, and the hat will be complete. And there you have it. There is a fully reversible hat that you can put a brim on, and you can turn it inside out. It's got this little two-tone thing going, so there you have it. I may have to make mine a little bigger, so if you want to add rows to it, you can do that too. Just make sure that both of your rows match, both of your row counts match. That way you got this nice, neat little thing. That way in the event you just put this hat on, you could just have one solid, or just bend it up from the middle. And if you want a brim, you could count out and add to the top of the hat or the bottom of the hat. Just, make sure you count out an even number of rows, or let the row counter fly. But this is the reversible, new, double-layered, really warm beanie. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the video. I hope I helped you. If I did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And remember, everyone is humankind. I ask that you be a kind human. Y'all take it easy. See you later.